Welcome back, everybody, to the Breakdown Podcast YouTube channel. My name's Corey, and with me once again to help me break down Miss Marvel, it's Vic.
What's up?
Before we get started, we do want to let you know we have a show we do every Tuesday at 7 p.m.-ish Eastern on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/MillerKing_51. The link will be in the description down below. Just come by, you can hang out with us, and join the chat. We're currently talking The Flash now that Obi-Wan is done. And in the meantime, weeks following, we're going to come up with some different stuff to talk about. So probably some movies and whatnot. So come by, hang out with us, and have some fun. While you are taking a break here for a second, please be sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications so you know when we do have a new video that goes live. And hit the E and leave us some comments and let us know what you think about what we've talked about here in the video. If you can't make the live video or can't make the live version, we do have the episodes available on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify for you to download and check out at a later time. So, without further ado, Vic, let's break it down.
This week's episode of Miss Marvel is titled Seeing Red. As we discussed last week, Kamala and Muniba are heading to Karachi to go see Sana, her mother and Kamala's grandmother, who contacted her and said, "You have to come to Karachi. Did you see the train?" And that is
The Harry Potter train?
No, not quite. It's a different. Oh. It's a different station. But
it looked like it.
It was a British train, so that was a thing. They get to Karachi. They're greeted by her cousins and her grandmother. They're like,
"You stayed for all of 5 minutes."
Well, she's like, "Shouldn't you be in bed, Grandma?" It's like, "You're off field." She's like, "I was out partying. I was at the club. What are you talking about?"
Oh, wait, what?
Dude, I love her grandmother. She's hilarious. But yeah, the cousins are just kind of hanging out. They could just kind of stop to say hi, and I think they just wanted to kind of American see what she looked like now because they hadn't seen her in so long. Then they were just like, "All right, we'll see you tomorrow," and they all left.
Yeah, it's like, well, I'm glad you showed up. We're taking off now. It's like, why did you even show up?
I think it's because they probably live in town and Grandma drove into town because they had to get in the car. And if that was an Uber, that thing had to cost them a fortune because they drove way far out.
You think they have Uber there?
Absolutely. Current days, there's Uber everywhere, dude. So they drive back to her grandmother's house, and she has got a huge house, dude.
Well, not only that, it took all night to get there because when she got into town, it was nighttime. When she got there, it was daytime.
They said it was like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning or something like that. So yeah, it was a long drive because it was daytime by the time they got there. And they pull in. It's a gated facility. There's a dude standing there opening the gate like. I don't know what kind of money her grandmother's from, but they got some dough.
Yeah. Believe me, I noticed that as well too.
But then you're like, okay, then why did Beniba want to leave so bad? And they kind of get into that story a little bit later on. They have an obligatory greeting of Magnum the dog, which I guess they had Pizza Dog in the last one, so they needed to make sure that there was a puppy representation.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, it's just like, I haven't seen you since you were so small or whatever. It's like, why does that even need to be included in the dialogue?
People like puppies. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe it'll come up later on in the episode. We don't know. It's just an introduction.
Not in this episode. We got one episode left, I think.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's only one episode left.
I have a hard time believing that they're going to fit that in there somewhere.
Yeah, so Kamala gets into the house and she's like, "Where's my room at?" And she ends up snooping around a little bit and runs into Sana's art studio, and she's just got pictures everywhere of and she explained to her, she's like, I don't have very many pictures of my mother. I just have the memories that I have of her and the what's it called? Damn it, I can't think of it now.
Memories.
No.
Just go with that.
It's going to drive me nuts. I was trying to remember the word all day today. Anyway, when they got separated, she's like, all I have is, the memories of my mother in this picture. And then she had just painted and drawn all these different things of the segregation or whatever the hell it was called. I can't remember off the top of my head right now.
I don't remember either.
you know, when it happened, she's like, that's why, like, she's like, I just remember my mom and the trail of stars that led me back to my father, blah, blah, blah. So we know that the story is heading towards her, you know, either reuniting with her great-grandmother or something. And the next day they're like, all right, we're going to go to the boat club, because apparently she's rich and she belongs to a private club. And when Kamala shows up, she can't go in because she's wearing jeans and she doesn't have on the proper clothes.
Yeah, and I'm like, why would you take jeans? My first thought would be to take shorts, because I would first check the temperature, what temperatures are going to be like there. And obviously it's pretty hot there.
Well,
because
I
mean it's nothing but sun.
People wear jeans in the summer. If you're used to it, you're used to it.
If you want to sweat like crazy,
it is what it is. But she was.
I don't even wear. I wear no socks and flip flops in the summer because I know my feet are just going to be drenched in sweat. So let's just kind of cut down on that a little bit.
Yeah, well, it is what it is, and she's not allowed to go in. And of course, the bougie cousins are like, "Oh, I wanted the buffet. I can't go in because she doesn't have the proper clothes on." And you're like,
"Go ahead, go in. We'll sit out here."
Yeah, exactly. We're good. And she, I guess, one of her aunties shows up and kind of gives her some smack about it, and she's like, "All right, we're gonna go shopping." So the cousins take her into the city and they go to the marketplace and they start showing her a little bit of the history of the area and where all the old people settled and everything. And she
asks where the train station is.
Well, she's walking around and they're doing kind of like a what is it called? A shopping montage. She's buying clothes. She bought herself an outfit.
Montage.
She bought herself an outfit, which obviously it was the start of her new costume. And then she ends up looking, once her cousins kind of drop her. I'm like, this is her first time in Karachi.
And you just leave her there.
And you just ditch her. Like, she's 15 years old and you ditch her in a foreign country.
Well, not only that, like, they were so excited to see her that they showed up for 5 minutes when she got off the plane.
Right.
And then they just, now, when they have a chance to actually hang out and walk around, they're just like, all right, well, we'll see you then.
Right.
It's like, I don't, these cousins, man, I don't like them.
I mean, you don't want, but okay, so let's be completely honest. If those cousins stayed around and they made extra time with them, of her just hanging out with her cousins, you were like, that was stupid. They shouldn't have done it. They should have just gotten rid of them. But now they're completely getting rid of them, and you're like, I don't like them. Why are they around? Like, well, they're not keeping them around.
Exactly my point. Exactly my point. Don't introduce the characters at all.
But they have to have
something. What's the point of them?
Because they had to have some reason. The mom is overprotective. She's not going to let her walk around Karachi in a marketplace by herself. So they needed the cousins. She can walk around
with her mom.
But she can't, because she needs to get away from her mom. And they would have had to explain her ditching her mom and everything else. In this case, she goes with the cousins, who her mom's like trusting the cousins to watch over her, not realizing that the cousins are not those people. And then she's able to get away and do what she needs to do and hang out and figure things out on her own.
Look, here's the way you rewrite it. Her mom invites her to go down. Let's go down to the marketplace and we'll walk around. And then they show them doing that for a little bit, even with the grandma there as well too. And then as the montage progresses, she starts to want to find that train station, which she eventually does in the actual episode. And then she's like, I'm going to go over here and check some things out. Because that happens in real life when you're out shopping with your parents or with a group of people. You're like, I'm going to go over here and check this out. I'll be back up with you in a little bit. And then it breaks off and does that. You leave the cousins. You can leave the cousins totally out.
It wouldn't have happened because we've already established how the mom is with her, and that never would have happened. She would have hawked her and hounded her the entire time. She never would have got away from her, because that's the way that Muniba is. And they make sure you know that that's the way she is, because that's how she was trying to keep her from going to the Avenger Cons and everything. So this way, they have a break-off set of characters that don't mean anything to the storyline, that you don't have to get invested in, or you don't have to worry about in any way, shape, or form. And then they allow her to separate herself from the story and go her own separate way without being hindered by her mom or her grandmother. So Anyway, moving on. She gets past the cousins and she goes to a vendor. And it's funny because I watch a lot of like travel YouTube channels sometimes to like different things, like food places, like people going like food places in different countries.
Right.
And one of the first things they talk about in some of those videos is how if you are American, someone will try to rip you off. So whatever you do not interact with like vendors, like scam vendors and things like that. And as soon as she started walking up towards that dude with the Polaroid, I was like, that dude's a scam artist.
That's why when I go to the mall and they have those vendors in the middle of the mall.
Yeah.
That's why I totally ignore them.
Yeah.
They're the same
like,
type of people.
You want to try some of this? You want to see my drone? No.
Yeah, no, I don't.
You
no,
walk
I don't
as
want
far over to the wall as possible.
No, I don't want to see your little robot thing that you put on my head and it massages my head that's been on about 50,000 other people's heads. No, I don't want to see it.
Wow, that's awfully specific. That happened to you, huh?
Well, I saw it, but I told him no, I don't want it.
Yeah, so she walks up to the guy and he's like, he takes her picture first off, like just flat out takes her picture, and then walks out and hands it to her. She's like, oh, look at this. He's like, all right, that's 15,000 rubies. And she's like, what? No.
Yeah.
Oh, he's like,
they
no.
He's
like, you have it, you keep it, 15,000 rubies. She's like, no. I was like, it's so funny. It's very much exactly what they say they do. Like they one of the things they talked about, like, do not take postcards or pictures from anybody in foreign countries because they will rip you off because basically by grabbing it, you've accepted it and you have to pay for it. And they can get their police involved, and in some countries the police will make you pay because you have the product. And you took it, regardless of whether or not they threw it at you, they stuffed it in your pocket, whatever.
It's like, wait. That's not the way it works.
Yeah.
I will say this, like we saw in Moon Knight several times, I did notice a Q code at his booth.
Oh, really?
But I didn't bother to scan it because I didn't care. I figured it was going to be another comic that it was going to take me to.
Possibly. I didn't see it. I need to start watching for this Q code thing because it's becoming more and more popular with this thing. Apparently, that they're going to start doing this. So I'm sure it's going to be
Disney's way. I think that's Marvel and Disney's way of trying to sell comics.
Well, trying to get people engaged in comics is for sure.
Right.
And then of course, because you do that, it gives you access to, like, it's going to go through their online comic store and everything else. So.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I mean, I'm not against cross promotion. It's not a bad thing.
No, I'm not. Like I said, I just wasn't interested.
Yeah. So
dude, I didn't bother to look.
The scam artist gives her directions to the worst directions ever, by the way, to the
oh my god,
he's like, take a left, then another left, and then a little bit to the right, and then a left, and you're there. I'm like, oh my god,
that was worse than. Oh yeah, you go down that road right there. You go up to about three stop signs. You take a left at the cow,
and then you
keep
dog
going
leg.
up another 2 roads.
There's always a dog leg.
And then when you see the dog humping the other dog, you take another right. It's worst directions ever.
So she eventually finds it. So apparently they weren't the worst directions ever because she got there rather quickly.
Who's to say how many other people stopped to ask?
Possibly. But she gets there, and she starts kind of looking around and investigating, and she realizes that, like, there's a portion of the train station that is just, like, blocked off for renovation. And there was a little thing on the sign. I didn't catch it all because it went by pretty quick. But it said something about preservation of the original station used during the partition. That's the word, partition. That's what I was looking for.
I like that you had to, in order to remember it, you had to remember what that sign said. The word you were thinking of.
But it's amazing how the brain works. But so she climbs underneath and goes in there. There's a Ant-Man Scott Lang poster or mural painted on the wall, which was interesting.
I missed that.
Apparently, I guess maybe Ant-Man might be like their favorite superhero in Karachi, possibly. I don't know, but that's what she was looking at when she first went through, was a big mural of Ant-Man. And as she's just kind of investigating and looking around, a dagger gets thrown at her, and the red dagger attacks her, and she fights him off, or attempts to fight him off, and they actually kind of fought to a standstill. Which is interesting because he's a trained assassin and she's a kid that's had powers for like 2 weeks, and she manages to fight him off pretty well. Though she did miss a lot, and it was a lot of kind of like accidental windfalls during the fight. But eventually, she convinces him that she's not one of the clandestine. But he finds her because his in the story, the Red Daggers, the assassins, and in this, the way that they make this seem is they have the ability to sense jinns. So he kind of got the sense that she was a jinn, and that's why he attacked her, because they fight off the jinns. And then once she convinces him that she's not the bad guy, he takes her back to his secret lair, which is not much of a secret. Jesus, even Marvel's starting to do it now. Like, I just met you. You have a secret power the same as the people that we hate. I'm just going to show you how to get into our secret lair.
Yeah. Yeah, and so he goes in there, and they're talking to another dude.
Walid.
Wally?
Walid.
Oh.
W-L-W-A-L-E-E-D. Walid. He's the leader of the Red Daggers. The Red Daggers, as an organization, like I said, they're Assassin's Guild, and they're all the Red Dagger. It's kind of like I Am Negan. They're all considered Red Dagger. And
well, apparently there's only two people that are Red Daggers then, because nobody else was around through this whole thing.
At that time, yes.
Yeah. Meanwhile, over in the States, all of the clandestine that were arrested, captured, whatever, they're able to escape the DODC.
Well, yeah, and it's because they only had one freaking guard watching them. Like, you have a bunch of supervillains, and you have one guard with a gun on them. Come on.
Yeah. So they managed to. We don't see, but they're handcuffed above their heads with along a track wire,
right,
or rail, and they're able to break through that. And we don't know how they make it out of the facility, because apparently, I guess it was the day off for everybody else.
Well, they do show. So it's actually Karam, who kind of jumps up, grabs the guard around the neck. Cameron, sorry. They actually call him Karam, but he jumps up, grabs the guard.
Change his name?
No, it's just the way that they said it. Like, that's why I was like Cameron, but I could have swore they said Karam the first couple times.
They said Cameron because we were making fun of it.
Oh, that's right, because of the singer, because of the rapper.
Yeah.
So he jumps up and does the neck squeeze, knocks him out kind of situation. And there was another guard there, so I'm guessing that there's more than one guard, but for whatever reason they managed to get off. And when that other guard tries to shoot them, one of the other clandestines releases another one of them, and then just kind of chain reactions, and they all get loose. It's very convenient.
And they're able to make it out of the facility.
In the interim of that escape, Cameron gets blasted with the stun gun. And they carry him out, and as they're leaving, his mom's like, nope, he's a traitor. He's staying right here. Just leave him. And they're like, all right, bye. And they just leave him standing there.
Yeah, so we know what's going to happen here. He's going to end up in the next episode. He's going to end up helping Miss Marvel. He's going to become a good guy.
Yes.
So there's your spoiler.
Well, it's not a spoiler. We know he's a good guy. He already turned on his family in the first place, so we already know that's the case. He just needs to get back to being able to help her. But miraculously, the jinns, apparently one of them must have some kind of time travel or like super travel thing that they can do, because they end up in Karachi like the next scene. So they can apparently not have to worry about traveling. They just appear in the country they want to be in.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Not only that, but they knew exactly where to go. This was supposed to be a hidden base.
No, well, yes, but
and they just show up because they've got a freaking sunroof, and they crash through the sunroof like Batman. It's like, wait a minute. If you're trying to stay hidden, you might not want to have a sunroof. Much less,
you can't
might
see what's going on
hidden.
inside. It is actually a pretty high building, and it is a stained glass sunroof. So it's not like someone just walking by. Someone's just going to walk by and look down into that thing.
No, that's true. But if you don't want people crashing through there, because if there's it's not going to be your typical bad guy that's coming to try and take you out. It's going to be somebody with superpowers.
But your own explanation as to why they were able to find them. And I was thinking the same thing as you when you were saying that. But there's two things that has happened. One, when she first touched the bangle the first time, they saw the train, so they knew that the train was referencing Karachi. And the partition. So they knew it had something to do with going back to Karachi. So that would explain how they knew where to go. The second part of it is they said that whenever she activates the bracelets, they can track her. They know where she is. They can tell where she's at. So the fact that she was inside of their training with them and she was using her powers, it drew them directly to where the hideout was. And because I was thinking the exact same thing you were. It's like, how the hell did they find them in that thing and just know where to go? But then I thought about you saying that just now reminded me that they literally told her that when she uses the armband, they can actually sense where the armband is, and that's how they found her. So they bust through the walls, they bust through the ceiling. But prior to that, Waleed explained to her what's going on. He explained to her what Noor was, which is the light essence that she's using for her powers, that they use to show her power manifesting. He explained to her that there's a barrier, there's multiple dimensions on top of our dimension and our Earth. So we're not alone, apparently. It's just like a Terran reality can pull you into another reality. And he's like, if they manage to use the bangle to go home, it will destroy the lair of Noor that's protecting their world from the Jinn world. And if the Jinn world comes through, it will destroy their realm. And
we just saw that on another show.
Yeah, well, it was in Multiverse of Madness, the Incursions. It's the same thing. Literally the same thing, right? So,
sort of.
When he goes through, and we've actually seen their world, and I was thinking it was like the Upside Down, but when she first got the bangle and she flipped, they did that weird flip thing, and there was like all the purple hazy world that she was in. That's apparently the Jinn world, is what I'm guessing. And then she came back around into our world. So the whole thing is kind of like the big Upside Down. They're explaining like what's happening and why the Jinns are there. They were exiled from their plane of existence into ours, and they want to go back. But in order to go back, they're going to basically destroy our world. So the Red Daggers know that that's the case, so they've been fighting against them the entire time, against the Jinns, to stop them from being able to do that. And that explains why they know who and what each other are. So the fight progresses through Karachi. I actually enjoyed this kind of chase / fight scene. At certain points, they just basically beat the crap out of people and steal their cars.
Yeah, pretty much.
And chase each other around. The clandestines obviously don't care about each other either, because on 2 occasions they almost killed 2 of them trying to run them over with that big truck. And they finally catch up with them. Waleed does this thing where he pulls the pin on the little motorcycle scooter thing, and they end up doing an endo riding down the road on one wheel. And I was like, okay, I guess. Visual effects.
The this whole scene, it was okay. It was kind of predictable though. I mean, because once you saw that they showed up, it was almost like, okay, there's going to be one of these kind of fight scenes through the whole which we've seen numerous times in movies.
No, it happens in every show that ever comes out every time. If it's an adventure show, this is going to happen. It happened in Moon Knight. It's happened in everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it hits. I thought that the fight choreography wasn't that bad. The scenes where she was using her power, she jumps in a truck and tries to drive it, does the same thing she did in the earlier episodes. They kind of brought that back around with the whole reversing into the car and then going forward. The fight ends up with everybody kind of being split up. So the Red Dagger, the kid, Kareem, ends up running off with her. Waleed takes off in the other direction to try to lead them off, and he ends up fighting 2 of them. And kind of in 2x2s, they just start having these fights. I think Waleed killed 2 of them, but I'm not sure. Like, the way I'm not sure if they're dead or not, but I think he may have killed 2 of the Jinns.
Yeah, at least 2 of them are dead, if not.
Did you see it too? Like, I'm not sure if they died or not, but I wasn't sure if he had actually managed to kill them.
Yeah.
But
I'm pretty sure the dude with the beard and then the huge dude, I think both of them died.
Adam
I can't.
and the whip chain guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
As
Because
far as the other,
that's who I saw go down, but I wasn't sure if he actually killed him or if he just kind of took him out, like took him out of the fight.
yeah, I'm pretty sure both of them are. I think the one dude that was with Kamala the whole time, I think he killed. I think he killed one of them.
Okay.
But I can't be positive.
Well, Najima ends up showing up. She ends up stabbing Waleed and killing him with her ceremonial weapons. That each one of them has like a ceremonial weapon that they can manifest out of nothing. And they were all using. And hers, I forgot what they're called, but they're basically like deer horns. And they are fashioned them into daggers, and that's what she ends up killing them with. And as all that is going on, she ends up getting to Kamala, and she goes to stab Kamala. Kamala uses the bracelet to block the stab, and again, as soon as she touches that bracelet, it rips kind of reality, and she ends up falling backwards. And when she does, she ends up back in Partition, in the train station, in the past. So obviously she climbs up on top of one of the trains, and she's looking around. And luckily she's now kind of wearing proper attire for the time.
Yeah.
Because she had her new red outfit on, and she had the
blue. Yeah, because we didn't mention that.
She had the blue jacket on.
She got the it was
like a vest. Blue. It was a blue vest, yeah.
She got that from
Waleed.
Right at the very, pretty much right after she got there.
Yeah. Well, no, when she came back for training, he gave it to her.
Yeah, and that was that's half of her costume right there.
Yeah, and so she's got her mask, and now she's got her vest, and she's got the red outfit underneath, and all it needs is a lightning bolt, and that's her whole outfit. Oh, and a scarf to go around her waist, a sari to go around her waist. So she ends up back in Partition, like I said, and she's kind of mesmerized. Like, she knows where she is, and she just doesn't know how she got there or what she's going to do. But obviously, we're going to get to see Aisha, help her grandma get back to her father. But I don't think it's going to end up being Aisha. I think it's going to end up being that because she got kicked back into time, she's actually going to be the one to help her grandmother get back to her father. And that's going to ensure that she ends up being born, because honestly, if she screwed up right now, she could wipe herself out of existence.
Yeah, we'd have a Back to the Future thing going on here.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, it's only a half-hour episode, so I don't know how they're going to manage to wrap all that up and wrap up anything with the DODC either.
Well, are
we done with that?
There's 2 episodes left. There's
2? I thought there was 1.
6 episodes, and we're on episode 4.
Okay.
So there's 2. The penultimate episode is next, so they'll get to everybody freaking out that they can't find her next episode. Kareem and Cameron will get together and figure out how to find her, more than likely. Or Aisha's gonna pop up in the regular time and be like, I couldn't tell you that I was still alive because it would have ruined your lives, but I've been watching you the whole time, or some ridiculous.
Blah, blah, blah.
But Aisha will end up showing her how to get back to the proper time while she's in the Partition. And once that all goes down, then she'll go back. Interesting enough, though, if she goes back to Partition and Aisha has the bracelet, if she takes Aisha's bracelet, then she'd have 2.
But if she went back in time,
would the other one not exist?
Nope. Here's the thing. If there's anything that I know about time travel, and that's not very much, it's the fact that if she took the second one, then if she's literally back in time, by taking the second one, it would keep the first one from getting to her in the future. There's still only one.
Well, see, no.
Because that one from the past has to get to the future.
The one from the past, the one that she has, is not the one that her grandmother had.
Oh.
Because remember, they found that on that blue Kree arm.
That's true.
So there, and they said that there is a second one and that the British took it. So if there's a second one out there, it's possible that she has it. Because like I said, I don't think Aisha actually has the bracelet anymore. I think that it was actually Kamala who did it, and Aisha finds the second bracelet later. So I think there's going to be some tomfoolery to do with that. I don't know, but I'm interested to see what happens. I thought this was a pretty good episode. I like the fact that they, they kind of introduced her grandmother and a little bit more history on the partition. I'm a big history buff, so like all that stuff was interesting to me. I know a lot of other people will probably think, oh, it's just boring filler stuff. But it's actually interesting to me because it kind of gives you more about the development of the character and where she comes from. I also enjoyed. We didn't talk about it much, but they talk about the fact that she's really displaced because in her religion or in her in regards to her people, they look down on her because she's American, but in America she's looked down on because she's Indian. And she's kind of trapped in this this negative space where there's just no real way to win because no matter what side she goes to, she can't really be anybody other than less than what each of those groups are calling her. So I thought that was pretty interesting too. But overall, good episode for me. What was your overall opinion?
I thought it was all right. Again, they've gotten away from what they did in the beginning. A lot of the complaints that I had in the beginning with the whole high school thing, having extra characters in there that we don't care about. It's like, let's get to the meat and potatoes of the story. And there was only one instance this episode where they had the whole using inanimate objects in the scene to create a text message, which they did it only once. So good on them. And it was from her perspective, so that I was fine. I just don't like it. But overall, it wasn't a bad episode. And like I said in the beginning, I felt that I felt that if they stayed with the whole direction of that episode of episode 1, mm-hmm. that it was going to make it really tough to get through this. But being as how they got away from that, and it almost seems a little bit more Marvel-ish now. That I'm starting to be fine with it. It's not going to be my favorite Disney Plus Marvel show, that's for sure. But it's definitely not. I don't think it's the worst.
You can definitely tell that they are trying to make that shift to draw in the next generation of Marvel fans. You know what I mean? Like we had everyone. We've had all the characters that we grew up with. We're adults. All the characters that we loved when we were younger and we grew up with in the MCU up to this point. Now you have a younger group who's not that they're familiar with the MCU in general, but everyone is older. Everyone are adults. They're not in any situations that these kids are in. So you can definitely see that they're kind of making that second swing. Like they're going back to the well to pick up this next generation of MCU fans and bring them in, but they're bringing them in as younger character by bringing in younger characters. Then they're still keeping, like when they bring in She-Hulk, they're still making newer content for the old heads that are already still in the storyline. So I can definitely see where they're going with that, and we'll see where they end up moving to in the future. But anyway.
All right, I think that's going to end this episode or this video. We do want to thank you for watching. Be sure to come by and check us out at 7 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays on Twitch. On behalf of Vic.
That's me.
I'm Corey. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time.
See ya!